whole industry of like adult film. Was it what you expected doing your first scene? So you had me doing moonsaults off the top rope.
Oh my God.
I have implants.
I feel like I know him from somewhere. Why?
Why not?
I mean, I thought about it for a long while before I did it. I mean, I got a lot of uproar from the whole industry, but who are they to judge me?
Yeah, I mean, what are they?
They can all go to hell. They don't pay my bills.
No, you got a point.
And that's that.
Yeah. I mean, it is a manic Monday, more manic than last Monday and the Monday before that. But hey. Yeah. So, I was just thinking, we were talking about this before. Hey, Ben, how are you? So, hey, Paul. A lot of people, like someone brought this up to my attention the last time when we had Vic on the show, was that it is possible. Hey, Scott, I'm glad you got your package. This wackadoodle, this Christian guy, I think he's identifying as trans. Hey, Richard. Hey, John Jay. Thank you. Yeah, finally this shit like came off. Shedding your skin is no joke, but we were just talking. So Vic's coming back on to talk about this wackadoodle, that Christian guy. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just thinking someone that's trans, right? That's great and all, but like you're identifying as trans, which is basically putting out there to the world that you cannot accept yourself and you want the rest of the world to accept you for the way you are, but you're going to go out there bullying women. You're going to go out there bullying a guy you've never met before, but you read his book, which is, it's kind of creepy out there, I don't know. And by the way, peeps, I know some of you are in here following the low rent BS that was going on last week, especially you, Paul. I know that you are. Still, hey, Jamal, how are you? No apology by phone or text was even made yet. So we're just leaving that as that, so, that's that. So there's nothing you can do about people. Like you could never expect certain people. You can't expect people to act a certain way in certain situations like you would, because if you do, then you just get let down time and time again. And that's the truth. So I'm snacking away on cucumbers because that is like my favorite go-to right now. And by the way, for those of you out there looking to spice things up in the bedroom, make sure you go to adamandeve.com and use the code CrazyTrain. That's crazy with a K. And you can get up to 50% off on certain items, and you get a bunch of free goodies only if you use my code CrazyTrain. That's CrazyTrain with a K. And I'm sure they have some pretty interesting things there. Yes. Oh, everyone's asked. Okay, so people are asking. Well, no, just some stuff, something that was supposed to be a joke was actually disrespectful, and someone was told that on a Sunday, and they go posting it on a Wednesday and didn't want to apologize or take it down. That's all. And it's just like low rent fuckery is what I call it. And that's what happens when you deal with low level people sometimes, not that everyone there is low level, but that's the truth. But, I accept apologies from people when it's done the right way. And, especially people you've known for many years, really, okay, what's this courtroom names for me? What are you talking about? I do not understand what that means. Does it have something to do with Fat Fannie Willis, or what is it? I got new courtroom names for you. I don't understand this. Okay. Someone's got to elaborate on that, like what that means. So please, when you get a chance, Richard, please elaborate when you get that moment too. It's been a week. I'm excited for WrestleCon, which is coming up. And for those of you that don't know, it's going to be a big weekend for me. So it's in Philadelphia, the same week of, oh my God, Anita Dix. That's right. Right. Milkshakes. I'll play it next week. So I was speaking up at the little city council meeting here a few months ago. And every time I would do that, I put in the name Milkshakes on purpose, just so the mayor of my town and the little assholes that work there call the name Milkshakes. It's just to, like, I don't know, demean them in some way. But yeah, I don't think I'm very popular at these city council meetings, much longer. So yeah, they were there, and Richard said the next time I should sign in like under my name, of course, and then Anita Dix like right after that. So and thanks a lot to those of you who watch this on the restream. I know you guys are very loyal with that, and make sure just to subscribe, because every few days there's more content being put up here, and then every Wednesday is when the audio version of the podcast drops. So make sure you subscribe, do your super likes, all that other fun stuff that you guys like to do. And I know that everyone's still loving my pillow statue, I guess. Yeah. Last week was kind of wild with John Wayne Bobbitt, but I don't know. I think I handled that. At least Vic's a little bit more tame than that. So let's bring him back to the show and go through this stalker. I'm going to call him the mentally ill stalker. And I stand by what I say. This isn't Vic saying this. This is me. If this man truly identifies as trans, there is an emotional problem there. There really is. You know?
Hi. How are you?
Wait, oh my God, it's a tank top. I look different this time. I know. Finally, it's all off. I got my skin back.
Good. How you feeling? You're looking good.
Thanks. You too. You look normal.
Well, I let my hair down in case we have to go into battle today, later on in the show. So I heard the tail end of what you were saying. Did you say he identifies as trans?
That's what he said. Is he identifies as trans, right? This is the Christian guy who is brutally like bullying a biological female, a couple of them, and who's been stalking Vic so much it probably knows what his colonoscopies look like and shit. But dude, I'm telling you, he's about the tuchus. He said that he's trans. That's what he put on his X profile, is that he is trans. So now this brings up the whole ideal to me. It's possible he's mentally fucking sick, because no one goes after you the way they did in that whole blog unless they are sick in the head or they want to have sex with you or something.
Well, I appreciate your points, and I don't disagree with you. I don't know exactly what's going on, just because I'm just baffled. So much thought went into all of it. Like, why on earth? Like, what's the point of it? I mean, I analyzed it a little bit when he was working, back in the day, and he was getting shunned by brazzers, and maybe he had like the, felt discluded kind of feeling and was lashing out on his blog. I mean, if I'm really trying to understand it, that would be what I would come to the conclusion of. But like, you have to understand something too. That he says, and he, I guess, somewhat boasts about the fact he worked for Naughty America as a producer and director for 2 years, from 2009 to 2011. And, he's trying to talk about how he knows like the ins and outs. I mean, I could speak about this because I actually had staff members leave my operation to go work for Naughty America. And then they came back because it was such a shit show. And because they didn't make a lot of money. Like the big knock was the intros, there was no thought behind them, and they had no money to pay people. So when he talks that he was working for Naughty America for 2 years, it's like, well, dude, don't really brag about that, because that's not, you kind of say that like, yeah, I was working for Naughty America for 2 years because I needed to pay the bills. Like that's how you should say that, not in any other way. So, and his whole thing was he was so, like, after he tried to make amends with me by calling me, he never apologized in public about all the nasty things he said. And then he goes to work for Naughty America, where he continues to do the bashing and trying to take down brazzers, which I assume because they just didn't want to hire him, because members didn't like him. And I guess it comes back to the whole thing. He was rejected. He wasn't liked. So I mean, and the things he would do for Naughty America, like he got this girl, her name was C.J. Raw, okay? S-E-A-J Raw. And she shot her first scene for Brazzers. But for whatever reason, they were holding on to it. They didn't release it. So Christian was able to shoot with her shoot her, shoot with her. I don't really know. He literally drove the footage down to San Diego to Naughty America so that Naughty America could beat Brazzers in releasing the boy girl. Like he was such like a little pandering bitch boy to Naughty America to like make them like really like him and take it to the Brazzers. But dude, he left. He was gone in 2011. Like, did they fire him? Was he too much drama? Like, I really want to know what the whole story was. Anyway, I'm going on. You suggested that there's something going on. Well, if I were to armchair psychologist this thing, I mean, I think he's hurt. He's a hurt person, so he lashes out. That's my opinion.
You're so nice. I'm just an asshole. I'm a refined asshole, dude. Like yeah, it's true.
Well,
he
okay,
said he's trans, bro. He said he's trans. Okay, so just because the rest of the world doesn't want to accept you doesn't, and you can't accept yourself, doesn't mean we have to accept like your poor behavior. And I've seen this. I'm not. He's telling me he's saying he's trans, and anyone that goes to this thing, he's saying he's trans. I don't think he's trans. He looks like a man.
Yeah, I mean, I see a big like Dr. Manhattan knockoff, like, dude, when I look at him, that's not, I don't see, no, I don't subscribe to that point of view. I just do not.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, look, there are those in the world that cater to the pronouns and things like that. And, you know, walk around eggshells around people because of the things they've got going on. I'm not one of those people. I'm more of, look, it's a brutal world, toughen your skin and, you know, rub some dirt on it and get back to life. You know, like that's where I come from. So when people are butthurt and screaming and lashing out and causing their pain onto others, yeah, I have a problem with it because it's like, yo, man, we're all trying to coexist on this giant spinning rock floating through the cosmos. Can we just be cool? You know, because there's something much bigger going on than this horse shit. So.
Oh God. No, I read his blog and then I'm just saying to myself, my God, I think this guy wants to like ass rape you or something, dude. So I would like, seriously, I would just cover my ass, no pun intended, if you're in the like proximity of him. But it's just so weird and passive because it's like, I don't know if he wants to be you as well. And maybe he's jealous. You know, I think he wants to be you to some degree.
Why would he want to be me?
Oh my God. Have you seen yourself? Really, dude? Really? Come on, bro. Really?
I don't even see. Here's the thing. I don't put effort into really anything. I don't. Like my book, of course. That was my whole. That's where I poured my blood, sweat, tears, soul, everything. But when it comes to like life in general, I coast, man. I don't give a shit anymore. Like I used to maybe 10 years ago, or even on. It's at the point now, it's like, there's a lot of things going on that I have very little control of, and I've submitted to that. So at the end of the day, it's about just be a good person. Don't be a dickhead. You know, that's really been the ideology right now. So
what do you want to say to this guy? Like if you had like 2 or 3 things to say to him, you know, yeah, that's what I want to say.
Let it go. Let it go, dude, and just go out and be happy. None of this shit matters. It does not matter. It doesn't matter. The drama in porn, it doesn't matter. You're no longer in 13th grade, man. You gotta get out of it and stop, you know, caring what people say and what their words are, and just try to be a happy human. That's it. I'm wishing it well on him. I hope he finds it. But I feel that the longer someone stays within the business and that is their life and they are a lifer, then beyond that, it's hard to see beyond that scope of what is the porn industry. When I was in it, it was the opposite for me because I was in my bubble out here in Las Vegas. So I didn't really have to get involved in the nonsense of the porn industry because there was a lot of it. I mean, I always said it was 13th grade. People like Christian were because of it. A few other people I mentioned in my book as well. But I don't know. I mean, listen, I wish he would have taken the bait and debated me on your show, but I think you scared him a little bit. I think he went running for the hills. I don't know, man. I would be a little afraid of you to be
Me?
to come on your show and be like, and she's like you're sitting there with like your fists back, ready to cock, you know, and I'm not. I'm more like, come on, dude, let's talk this out and let's figure this out. So you might have scared him a little bit, but honestly, anyone that I talk shit about in my book, aside from two people, I will gladly speak to them on your forum, on your show, and try to like squash history. The only two people that I won't do that for is my ex-fiance. In the book, she's known as Meridiana, and there's good reason for it, and there's good reason for me not to engage her. And then there's another dude named Fucktard. Fucktard was a production assistant of mine that he did me really dirty, and he was just not. I mean, he did so many things that were wrong and bad, like that he was completely at fault for. But he's one of those people that still blames me for his problems, and he was justified in the things he did. I can go on and I could figure out, I'm looking at a comment here. Drac Damage.
Yeah, he wants to know what happened with Nikki Benz and Brazzers. Did Robodick Ramon rape her? So was this girl raped on a Brazzers set?
Well, I detail a lot of the cases in my book, Filthy, which is on Amazon and on Spotify, which I suggest you read on it because it has the actual footnotes of everything. That was her accusation. The person to really answer that question would be Tony T. He was the director. I wasn't there. But I do know that Tony T was absolved of any wrongdoing in the court of law. That much is true. So there's my answer. That's what I know.
And then here, Paul wants to know what your thoughts are of soft porn director Brian McCarthy.
I have no idea who that is, so I have no thoughts.
Yeah, me either.
Sorry.
Me either. But you're just so I would have let Christian talk. I wouldn't have been a total bitch. I wouldn't have knocked his head off. It's just I got a problem with a guy bullying a girl. That's my problem,
Yeah.
And I don't think you could really answer for that, Hey Walker, how are you? Edward Svensson Sorensen, how are you? So I have a problem with that. So yeah, I would have just been like, okay, bro, okay, so you guys got your shit straightened out. Not that you would, because I think he's a bit loopy. But like to go after Veronica with that stuff and other girls, it's because he wants to be a woman. Because those girls wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole, I'm sure.
I think it goes back to the whole rejection thing, being rejected, and not being. Maybe the other part of it is not being desired after, because look, I looked at a couple things. Like there's a lot of stuff on him. If you just search his name. You go on MikeSouth.com. There was an article that came out in late 2022 about allegations against him, and you hear all this thing. And I always felt in a situation where there's smoke, there's fire, and when you kind of start having the same things being repeated over and over and over again in a different way, you start thinking, okay, there's a fire somewhere. There's something really going on. That's really what was going on with this PA that I mentioned. His name was Fucktard. Okay. So I'll talk to you about Fucktard real quick and why I won't talk to him. And this is why I think it's the other person is my ex-fiance, and I'll explain why I can't do that either. If this is interesting to you. But with Fucktard, he was an extra in our scenes, like hired to do a non-speaking part. Maybe the guy who is getting cheated on by his girlfriend, like that kind of shit. And the thing is we had a lot of production assistants over the years, and you can imagine. I mean, first of all, the job didn't really pay that well, But like the people who gravitated towards porn, let's just say they weren't the most qualified, and a lot of times the reason why they went on a porn set or decided to take a job on a porn set, it extended beyond the financial compensation. They wanted it to be around the element. Now, with Fucktard, he was a pothead. Nothing wrong with that. I am too. But he was also my driver. and he was picking up girls from the airport, bringing them to the studio, and then building sets poorly. And, he showed a lot of initiative his first month. But then what happened after that was, he slowly degraded into the pothead he was. Now, this is where it starts getting to the creepy side, okay? Now, it's one thing to be a pothead driver. It's another, and I was battling a pretty bad cocaine addiction at the time. So my judgment, wasn't the sharpest around then. I just needed a body to get the work done. So, a pothead driving our talent to and fro, probably not the best liability concern on my end. I missed that one. But when I started getting phone calls from agents, because Fucktard had two jobs. He would work for me and then he would work at like the nightclubs or whatever. We shot this one tattooed performer and I get a call from the agent and she says, is it normal for your driver to ask to stay in the room of our talent who's staying over to shoot for you? And I said, no. I said, okay, I'll squash this real quick. Brought him into my office. I said, this can't happen. Can't happen. Happens again. I'm telling you, you're going to be gone. Like this is the kind of shit that you can't do, especially when you're working for a company like it was Manwin at the time. So that was it. Then the next time he told on himself, came into my office and explained he was texting and berating a talent because she didn't want to play video games with him. And he admits this to me. Now, in hindsight, I should have fired Fucktard right on the spot, right? Because that's like, you're harassing talent. You can't do all that stuff. That's not how I want my organization to be reflected.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't do it because probably we were getting close to the holidays and I needed to get the holiday work done. And we did. But then I started getting like these reports from girls. Now Fucktard would say that he was male talent. And truth is, like he like went into a gangbang scene as like it was a blow bang actually, and he couldn't keep his dick hard. Okay, just couldn't. So he failed a blow bang scene. But he's telling girls that he is a male performer. Okay, so anytime we would have a cancellation, right, he'd be like, "Put me in, coach. Put me in." That's what he would say to me, and I'm like, number one, your test isn't current. Number two, this is a like it big shoot, like MILFs like it big. Like, dude, you ain't big. Like it was small. So it's like you're like, well, what do you do? Like, shut the fuck up and just be a PA. But then I started hearing that he would girls would ask him for weed. And then he would ask for a blowjob. So I had one contract star, top girl, tell me this, and I'm like, okay. That signed his death warrant. Now I just need to get to the holidays and then send him on his way. And then I got another one saying he took his dick out. He took his dick out while driving. Yeah, while driving her to the airport. Okay. So you're like, all right, now it's time to give the old heave ho. I explained to him we're doing cutbacks. He asked me to sign his unemployment. And I said, no problem. Now this is where it gets, tricky because back then, I had an accountant who was running the entity that I had no control over. He was paid as an accountant, dealt with all the taxes, dealt with any liability, dealt with all that stuff. In the book, he's known as Herschel. Okay. So Herschel didn't think a creepy fucktard should get his unemployment. He was very much opposed to it. And so he denied it.
Oh my God.
And then OSHA arrives at the call of Fucktard, who called them on him because we blocked his unemployment benefits. So to me, that's like, you can't come back from that. He tried to apologize over the years. He tried to do all these things. And I feel a little bit bad about this, but I saw him at like a Christmas charity event and I saw him and I just saw red and I just started screaming, rat, you fucking rat. Like I got crazy. Like, because it's like, dude, you just tried to sabotage my operation when clearly you did so many things wrong. And I was almost gonna I didn't want to block your benefits, just the other dude did. So it's like, but he backed down at that confrontation, but he messaged me on Instagram, calling me a little bitch and a loser, and that he admitted on that whole thing that he was the one who called OSHA because Herschel blocked his benefits. So I have all of this as proof, but I'm the asshole. I'm the asshole, right?
Yeah, why not? It's easier. What's OSHA, by the way?
OSHA is like occupational safety
Oh, okay.
hazard.
Are
Like,
you fucking kidding me? Oh
oh
my
yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what
Yeah.
in California they were coming around and like citing people for not using condoms. That used to be that whole deal. In this case, and this is why I knew it was him immediately. So he was a PA. He hung a board up, with a screw gun, right? Said board falls off, hits him on the head, causes a gash, which I send him to urgent care, and I pay for it. Should be out of pocket, all that stuff, even though it was his fucktardery that dropped the board onto his head. So, there was a whole thing where you had a claim that wasn't filed through workers' comp or something. So that's how I knew it was him. And I was like, dude, really? You were just a piece of shit from top to bottom, but I'm the dick and everything else. Now, OSHA got me they always got me for not having a plate on an electrical socket.
Okay.
If because we would change paints on rooms, all the stuff, and they would crack and break and all that. So if you didn't have one on, it's a serious offense with OSHA. Like $2,000, $3,000 for not having a fucking plate on. So that's what they cost me. But I look at it like this: they're out of my life forever. That's what it cost me to get. I had 2 employees do this to me over my time. Either I was just such an asshole boss, or I really just hired some shitty people that couldn't own their own shit. That's what my job was entailed. So,
Dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure something out. So, okay, so with the weed, when he was getting a blowjob for the weed, was he also charging the girls for the weed? Like, was he a smart drug dealer, or was he just like dumb?
No.
Because I know only
He,
one drug dealer who charged the girls for the cocaine and was getting blowjobs.
oh, no. I think what happened was they would just say no and not have their weed. That's really what it was. And this was an attempt for a quick transaction that was going to happen between the 5-minute drive from the airport to my studio. That's what Fucktard was hoping for. Yeah.
Fucktard Brando, right? So Jim wants to know because John wants to know because he bought your book and he has it with him.
No. His name is Fucktard. He's known as Fucktard. And this is in part 2. I talk about Fucktard and I think it bleeds into part 3, but I will never say his name. I will he should just forever be known as Fucktard.
See, I like these nicknames. I think it's so charming to give everyone, like, I've called people certain things. Like when I saw Jeffrey Epstein, I said he looked like a Jewish horse. And then I've called people things, plastic headed sea donkeys. So I'm down with these descriptions. I am so down with these nicknames. This is the best thing ever. But yeah, so we got that with that. I'm still fascinated by him wanting to get a blowjob. Then, wanting to play video games. No, dickwad. She does not want to play a fucking video game with your creepy ass. Like, she deserves a Lorena Bobbitt moment for a second. Like, someone's got to cut his dick off, man. Like, seriously.
There's not much to cut. I've seen it. There's not much to cut. Yeah, I mean, it's a small dysfunctional dick. Like, it just didn't work. I mean, like, listen, dude, like, but like, as I said in the beginning, there are certain people that gravitated towards the porn industry because they're trying to bang porn chicks. And I mean, rumor was he did score on occasion. So I guess, he scored on occasion. Yeah. I mean, maybe she really did need weed and decided to give it up. I don't know. But either way, it was, that was kind of the shit I had to deal with as an employer dealing and running a crew. I'd say, though, I got the crew pretty much dialed in from 2015 to 2020. Once I started getting rid of like manipulation within my own crew, and we were all just trying to just work and get the job done with the least amount of bullshit, that was fine. But, look, I know working for me as my production manager or my production assistant, it could be tough. The ones who couldn't go anywhere as production assistants, they usually got fired. But the ones who were actually good PAs elevated to production manager. I would watch these dudes go from like normal hair to gray hair within a matter of like years, because Yeah, it was a hard job. Like, we really had to turn a lot of content out for these guys, and I ran a tight ship, and I apologize for any PTSD I might have caused, but the truth is, I was a manager, and sometimes you just gotta, we gotta move, and I was able to move people when it came time to getting a live show off on time or doing anything. It's like you have to have a little bit of authority to be like, all right, people, let's go, without overstepping and being a dictator, because it's about respect at the end of it all. You gotta show the person, look, we're here to get through this battle, which is a war of porn. It's not because, it's my way or get the fuck out. It wasn't like that. It was like, I am your commander. Let's go. Let's take down this foreign beast together. We can do it. That's what you have to do. But we would have a couple bad eggs in the mix at times, especially when the economy was terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
it seems like you ran a pretty tight ship, though. It's a shame.
Yeah. I think a lot of things were happening too during the Obama administration when we went to the recession, and people were hurting for work, and Brazzers and Manwin, they were becoming the monopoly. It became dog eat dog, which is why it sucks that I bring some people up in the book that I got into the game that tried to basically take what was mine or fuck me over or everything else, and I call them out for that in the book by their names, the ones who did all that stuff. Going back to who I won't talk about is just my ex-fiance, because
you're allowed to talk about it. You don't have to say her name, but you're allowed to talk about why, because clearly, I mean, there's a reason for everything.
Yeah. Well, look, listen, I just won't engage with her. That's really what it is. Because
why?
Well, there's two reasons. Number one, I think there's a legit, not like a joking legit, like a legit mental health problem. Because honestly, this thing officially ended in 2010, and we're in 2024, 14 years later, and there's still, attempts to communicate. Okay. The relationships that a lot of people would say are the toxic ones, are the dysfunctional ones, the ones they learn from, the ones they grow from, the ones they go, never again. It was that one. So you've got, a potential mental illness issue, which I don't think you should agitate in any way, shape, or form. But then you also have the issue too, which is this is where a lot of people who, and I detail all of her lies in the book. Pathological liar was something else that was constantly thrown around by people's assessment of her. And I talk about it in the book. There was a lot of it. There was a lot of lies, big whoppers of lies and manipulation. So, when you think about that, how truthful do you think this person can be really at the end of it all, and whether or not you can actually take for whatever they're saying for face value? So you mix some potential mental illness with pathological liar, and you're like, there's no point. This is why you have to cut people out. This is why you have to say this is not good.
They just don't respond.
I don't. There's layers upon layers upon layers. I mean, I do have so much against her. Like, she left so many crazy, kooky voicemails that are forever in my voicemail box. Like, she got to the point where she voicemailed herself out. Like, she filled up my voicemail so I can no longer receive voicemails. And I was thinking, well, there's the answer to the problem. Now no one can leave a voicemail because I fucking hate voicemail anyway. So now they have to state who they are, what their text is. Like, it's really hard to get a hold of me unless I want you to. And I call her herpes in the human form, because she just doesn't go away, and she just flares up like, oh, here I am again, herpes. Yeah. So I wouldn't engage with her. I mean, she did hit a rough patch in 2019 and 2020, got arrested a few times, check fraud, domestic disturbance. She hit a cop. Like, if you were to look at my rap sheet, you'd find nothing. You would find a law-abiding citizen on paper. Now, yeah, I've done a lot of drugs. Okay, I freely admit that. But when it comes to being like a citizen of the planet and this country, I'm a good one. So it's like, I don't know. It just seems like trying to talk with either of them would be stupid. So, but I'll engage with any other motherfucker out there. That's the point.
Like Christian, but he doesn't want to talk to us for some reason. I want to ask you something. This just dawned on me. Yeah, she went overboard with the voicemails. I think so.
I'd say so.
A little bit, yeah. You know, I know it's a different temperature now because you mentioned Obama before, and this is just a question I have to throw out there. Do Trump supporters like not get work in adult films? Someone said that like, you know, it's hard to get work in adult if you're a Trump supporter. Is that actually true?
I don't know. I think when everyone was going Meshuggah, that's a good word. I'll teach you.
Yeah, it is. I love that word.
Yeah, going Meshuggah in 2020 when people were, and it was an election year, and people were chirping. That's when the cancel culture was kind of high, you know, and everyone was like,
COVID.
you know, social virtuing and freaking out. So I remember there were people just jawing at each other on Twitter during all of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it might have affected them then. I don't think it affects them now, but what do I know? I mean, like, I'm out of it. You know, I hear things. You know, people do still like talk to me. They ask me for advice. I should start running like a consultation service of some kind because it could actually be beneficial. But the truth is it doesn't sound any better. It sounds worse. It sounds more disorganized. It sounds like there's more apathy in the business more than anything. And it's clear as day. I don't know anyone anymore. Like at least not the ones working for companies, at least, you know.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, because I think like the reality is like we were the star makers. The stars they went through Brazzers during all of that, and now they've built their base, they built their brand, and now they're crushing it. And they don't need it unless the monopoly is paying them a fuckload of money, you know. Which even then, I'm almost like, is it really worth it though? I mean, really, is it really worth it, or should you just do your own thing? You know, I don't know. I guess it depends on what the company is like now. I know what they're trying to portray themselves at, but I have no idea who they are and what they are anymore. You know,
there's too many of them. Dominique Simone came on here and she said, like, even at the AVN show, the red carpet, they're like telling her to get in line. She's like, I've been doing this for 30 years. You're telling me to get to the back of the carpet? There's like 400 girls going in there for awards. Where in the fuck did these girls come from? You know? And this, like, I think COVID really fostered a lot of the stupid behavior online with everyone trying to be relevant, saying things, you know, me too, you too. Oh, me too, you too. And yeah, I guess, yeah, if that was, if that was one of the prerequisites is you can't be supporting Trump if you're an adult film star, I don't think I'd survive it. I got just the audience knows my stance on stuff. I got a really dirty look today at the gym for wearing my t-shirt. I have the infamous like Trump mugshot t-shirt. I don't know why people gave me dirty looks at the gym. I think it's a cute shirt. I think he looks really, dude, he looks gangster, motherfuckers. He does. Should I wear like a fat Fannie Willis t-shirt to the gym, guys? Like seriously, or should I wear a fucking Letitia James t-shirt? You know? But yeah, so that's that. But Christian, getting back to the psycho, like it seems like you have a lot of weird. You're just a nice person, okay? You're like a lot nicer than I thought, and like you're definitely not confrontational until someone fucks with you. I just don't understand, man. Like, is there any other like weird beef besides Christian? And that's no beef. That's Christian attacking you because he's sick in the head. And Kayleen, you weren't here earlier, but I have my own theory on Christian because he's identifying as trans. I think he's a fucking sicko. I think he dresses up in kids. I think he dresses up with a fucking wig and goes to he goes to drag queen story hour. That's what I think he does. I don't know that, but that's what I think he does. That's how sick in the head he is.
You think he does the Silence of the Lambs Buffalo Bill thing, you know, like to the camera, the tuck job, and you know, doing that? You think
I wish he'd come on here to tell me if he does or doesn't, because I'm curious. Everyone wants to know. And yeah, he's a psycho. Even Kayleen's here saying that. But this is what I think he does. He doesn't want to reply to me. I've messaged him, and for some reason, he doesn't want to talk to me. I don't know why. Do you think that he fucked? Do I think he fucked the Doritos guy? Who's the Doritos guy? What's this that I'm missing? Vic?
I don't know. Who's the Doritos
Yeah,
guy?
John, we don't know. You got to explain. So, who do you have are there any other weird beefs out there that make
I
you,
mean, the ones that I talk about in the book,
yeah.
there was the Jaden James one. Are you familiar with her?
I know the name, but I don't know anything positive. I think it was something weird, but people say weird things about me all the time, which are probably true. Part of it at least. What happened with what
Well,
happened?
there was a section in the book where I debate whether or not I should extend the olive branch to Jaden James because. So I'll take you back. This had to have been around 2007. Brazzers is blowing up. Everyone wants to shoot. And I had this shoot with Nikki Benz and Jaden James, and I had never met her before that. And I'll tell you, post makeup chair, I'd say, yeah, pretty girl. Post makeup chair.
Uh-huh.
But what I do remember was that there was an energy about her that just I didn't vibe with. There was like something I couldn't work with. Evangelina, we'll loop back to that. But yes, I have great things to say about Evangelina. She just had this weird energy that it just didn't vibe with mine. And over the course of time, when she would get bigger and bigger and be more of what the Brazzers mold was, which was the big boobs and the big booty. And she was a strong performer. The whole thing went to her head. Like she would sometimes walk into the makeup room and be like, the star is here, and say something like that. Yeah, and you're like, exactly. You roll your eyes. You're like, did she just fucking say that? It's like, just shut up. Like, come on, just be cool. Can you just be cool? So there was little things like that went down. Well, and like little things like that would just annoy me over time. And I'd say it wasn't like always just antagonistic, but she did hate Rachel Starr because Rachel Starr back then, and I would say in all of porn, Rachel Starr hands down had the best natural booty I've ever seen. Like you look at that and you're like, that is a yeah, like God created that. That's a divine ass. Right. And Jaden was very jealous of that. And if you said that Rachel Starr had the best booty, it would drive Jaden nuts. So of course, naturally, I said it maybe 1 or 3 times, like, just to kind of, stir the pot a little bit. Well, there was this one day where we had this scene set up where it was supposed to be one girl, like Jaden with another girl, was like a boy, girl scene. And for whatever reason, and this was my production manager's fault, in the book he goes by, his name was Mo. He was pretty mopey at that point in time and not really doing his job and kind of running out of gas. And he was supposed to tell her, your talent has been replaced. And she was replaced with a great talent named Charisma Capelli, who I talk about in the prologue of the book. She was like the throw down the gauntlet in the live show. Like she was sweet as can be. And she really just was there because she was replacing a girl who probably had a dirty test. And Jane just found out about it when they were on set, and it was a big problem. And she's like, I'm not going to work with her. She's the dirty hooker. And I was like, okay. Meanwhile, I mean, listen, I don't judge when it comes to people, how they make their money, whatever. But I could have sworn I heard Jaden talk about the NFL players that she would hang out with, So, I mean, for her to judge what kind of hooker she was, I was like, I just thought it was hypocritical. You know what I mean? I was like, well, that's rude. And on top of it, Chris is like, yeah, I'll have sex with anyone. She didn't really care. Whereas Jane's like, I'm not going to shoot with her, but she wasn't really offering any solutions. Whereas Charisma had a friend in town who was really willing to do the scene, ready to go. And and Jaden's making ultimatums. So I say, okay, Jaden, you're right. You don't have to work with her. And she hits the road. And that was the last thing for Jaden. And she just was ready. She had just daggers and swords out for me. And she just wanted to start showing me, which she did when she was like on other message boards. And I would see them and she talked about what an asshole I was. And I'm a dick and how like some people just don't get along with each other. And you never got along with me and blah, blah, blah. Well, here's where she went over the line where I had to hit the nuclear option. She put something on the Brazzers forum. So my ex-fiance and I had a couple miscarriages during our relationship, which I look at it as that was the universe saying, dude, you need to get the fuck out of this right now. And after the second miscarriage, I was gone. But she made this comment on the Brazzers forum. This is Jaden saying his fiance killed the babies inside of her so she wouldn't have to deal with him for the next 18 years. She writes this on the Brazzers forum. So I was like, and I told the head office, I go, everyone, Nancy, Frank, I have to nuke the forum, which I did. And I don't remember exactly what I wrote, but I dubbed her the name Canklesaurus Rex, which I think a lot of people resonated to that, because I mean, she did have cankles, and that was the whole deal. And it was mean for me to say, she was hitting the wall faster than Wile E. Coyote on rocket skates. And I said a lot of these things, and I never heard from Jaden ever again. Like, this was me going, like, this is what happens. Like, you push me too far, and I come back hard. It's how it is. I don't want to go there, but that's how it happens. And that was it. So I think back, this was a girl who was in the porn world who literally was like in her low 20s to mid 20s. Maybe now would she reflect that maybe her words were not poorly chosen. Maybe she didn't have to go that route. And I was kind of curious about it. I mean, she's like 40 now and she just had a kid. And it was like, do you really? Yeah. Just
now I'm looking at her photo. Ew, really?
Anyways, she it's Jay. It's Jay.
No, I have her photo up there, bro. I got it. It's like, oh my god, she's got a gut. Oh god, that's disgusting.
Well, anyways, so I was wondering if Jaden would want to come on your show after all those nice things.
What diet tips? She wants to come on for diet tips. We can go that.
No, just to see if she'll want to hash out our previous differences. Anyways, I think that would be kind of funny.
Talk to her. No, I have to. She's going to take up the goddamn screen. Where's she going to fit in on here?
I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Otherwise, yeah. I mean, but there was other people. Let's answer West Coast millennials. Have I worked with Evangelina? She is making a return to porn after taking a long break. Yeah, she was great. I never had any bad complaints about her whatsoever. Like literally, she's what you want in a performer. I know. Listen, I'm not going to say too much about what she was doing, but she got like a real job after this. I guess she's coming back. Maybe to it seems like a lot of girls are coming back to fuck dread and make a shit ton of money. That's what it sounds like. So if she's doing that and it's like a quick money grab, I say go for it. Take down dread. That's what I see, because he's a spectacle unto himself. I mean, I mean that in the nicest way. Opinion about Diamond Fox.
And Stephanie Woodcock.
Yeah, no, her name is Diamond Fox. I knew her from the Florida days. Back in 2005, I shot. You know what? If you really think about it, I may have shot her very first scene for what would be Brazzers. That was for Dr. Adventures. And yeah, she crushed it later on. I mean, she was great. I have nothing but wonderful things to say about her. She was wonderful. Like, there were really good performers who were good at their job and, came in with like, let's get this done. Let's get the job done. Let's get paid. And when you had that, you're like, that's how simple it is. Like, I will make the rest of this shit show as pleasant as possible. Let's just get in there and put our best faces on and let's do this. And I think it worked for a while until, the ages of the performers dropped to like their low 20s when they were born after 95, and Gen Z came in, and then they're like, well, what the fuck are we dealing with now? Like, I just didn't know after a while. Yeah.
It's too late. I don't know. I couldn't deal with those people. I don't know how. I don't know how you did it. You said the most, like, something very important though. Well, I have an idea. How about we don't shoot you? You're in the porn business and you're being overly sensitive. Like, what do these people expect? I mean, describe what these people could possibly think is overly sensitive.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is
Scared.
like you're doing the most intimate thing on camera in a room full of people, and it's a very vulnerable thing to do. You need
Huh.
to be in tune with that in every way, shape, or form to be aware that this is what's going on and that you're cool with it. And if you know what, take some time. Take some time to think it over. Unfortunately, you seem to have dudes get their claws in these girls and feed them a bunch of shit and drugs and ideas and beliefs and false hopes and all that stuff when really they're using them to make money off of them. I've seen this shit happen so often, and it's so sad. It would never happen to you. You wouldn't let a motherfucker own you like that at all. But you have these vulnerable girls that can't do it themselves. It's insane to me. I mean, because I'm not wired like that. You're not wired like that. But
No.
yeah, I don't know. It's like, no, you need to be tough to be in this business. You have to be. And if you can't, you shouldn't be in it. Find something else to do.
Well, I think like I was talking to Sarah J the other day, and she was on a couple of weeks ago, and she said like the internet has definitely been somewhat instrumental in a lot of the mental health issues of these girls. Like I think like fast fame, fortune forever, and it's not like that, Drac Damage wants to know if you have any thought. I'm starting to think what's your okay, I'm not going to ask him. I think it's a friend of mine who's like in rehab right now. But anyway, I'm not going to out him. Vic, he wants your thoughts on Nicolette Shea.
Nicolette Shea. She's a bombshell of a performer. I'll give her that. Saw her at the Hardeen party, and she wanted me to shoot for her OnlyFans, run camera, I guess, because she's got really long nails. And nothing ever came of it. But I didn't really want to do it anyway. I just didn't. I just don't really want to run camera anymore. I don't want to deal with porn anymore. I think I've seen enough of my entire lifetime.
Yeah, and Drac, if you're not who I thought you were, I'm sorry in advance, but Paul knows who I'm talking about. Paul wants to know, you did an interview on Granny Panty podcast 3 weeks ago. What are your thoughts on Ruby Lynn? I love Ruby, by the way. She's great.
I thought she was totally sweet and totally welcoming and totally warm. But beyond that, I really don't know much about her. I just know what the interaction was when we spoke. It was mutual respect and consideration, and we had a good conversation, and that was it. And I hope some people took some good things out of that interview, like they do out of any interview that I give, because I don't want to be a shitty interview.
Dude, but she all right, wait. But she thinks dad bods are okay. Like when she told me what the fuck a dad bod was, I was ready to throw my food up. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm like, dude, no. But at least she seems very like body positive, friendly towards men, I guess, if that's a thing. I'm sorry. I'm probably the most shallow person you're ever going to meet in this lifetime. So on Twitter, he saw that you're making a tweet at Shay Fox. What about her? Me, John, or were you tweeting at Shay Fox, dude?
No, that was definitely not me.
That was not, I don't know. I'll have to go back. So these beefs and everything are very interesting because you have these great stories behind them, right? With Christian, like, what do you think is the creepiest part of his rant that probably scared you? Like maybe
none of it scared me, but I mean, I'm looking up his whole thing was okay. So he talks about, because when I do some introspective towards the end, the coda chapter of the book, when you're reflecting, when you've been a couple of years removed from porn, and you're really looking at it all, and you realize like a lot of things with me was when you start like texting people, just hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? And you don't really hear anything back. And he started like talking about how he was that was normal for him. Like he would go have these 28 people dinner parties when he was a producer for Naughty America, and now he can't get anyone to have dinner with him. Now the reason why they're going to your dinner party, dude, is because they want more work from you. I mean, I knew this going in that you don't really have a lot of friends in the porn business. What's different for me is, so it takes a while for me to even want to assume I'm going to stick my dick in someone. There's a lot of stuff. We discussed this before. We got sizing you up, Is there crazy? Is there any of this stuff? Like, is it going to be great sex? Because if it's not, we're not going to do it. Well, I did have a lot of sexual encounters while I was in the industry. And, when I got to the point where I was inviting someone into my bubble of bliss out here in Vegas, and I'm accepting their energy and we're fucking, that to me is a lot more intimate than a fucking dinner party you're doing for porn people and everything else. So you can't really compare one against the other. So when you start getting ghosted from that, then you're like, okay, I see. So we were just fucking, and that's okay. Like, some girls can turn the switch off, and now the reality is I see you, hooker. I see you. This was just a, you were just like, all right, this could probably help. And I guess if anything, that's the kind of thing you're like, all right. But I didn't whine about it. I was like, okay, well, it still was fun. I still have good spank bank memories in all of these things. But it's kind of like, well, you're trying to reach out to someone like, hey, are you okay? Are you all right? Like, how's your mental health? And you get ghosted, you're like, all right, that's a reality check that there's not much in terms of substance in porn. Except like my last relationship, she was a porn girl. We dated on and off for 4.5 years. And I mean, she's still in my life, and we're still really good friends, and we still talk. So I would say there were like 2 or 3 maybe quality people that came out of porn that I would say are still friends, and they have it where it counts in their heart. But overall, in the porn side of things, not really. I mean, he was whining about that and his whole thing, but I don't know. I think I kind of nailed virtually everything of his dissertation on Filthy, my book. And yeah, I just hope he's just. I just hope he realizes, like, the thing that I just didn't really understand was, like, he just needed to out or try to ascertain the identities of people that I chose not to reveal. Like, why are you doing that, dude? Like, like it's not like a great mystery. I did it for their protection, and all you're doing is fucking with them, So I don't know, man. Just be nice, dude. But I guess that's really it. Like, why on earth am I taking up headspace in that bald cranium of his? Like, I just don't get it.
It's the hair envy. It's the hair. It's the hair. And then I think Scott's saying he still has a grudge, and it's possible, like, look, this whole thing, like, you just brought this up when you were talking about this. I've never met Tom Arnold in my fucking life, like, never even on Stern, right? Okay. Let me tell you this, that little cocksucking liver spotted bitch, okay? When he has that, he's got that old white man, I'm so bitter look with his liver spots. I'm gonna get Trump. Like, that looked like the AOC psycho at the same time. What is Rico? That is not Rico. Stir. What is Rico? Like, that fucking psycho shit he had going on. Something's like, he's got a loose screw, right? Then he goes onto his podcast, okay, right, with an ex of mine, and he has this white bread fucking American cheese stale looking bitch who's his co-host, this woman named Monica Casey. And you guys are more than welcome to slam her on Twitter and ask her why she's on there saying I'm stupid. I must be stupid. I must be a drug addict. Like, who the fuck are you, bitch? So I get it. And there was no reason. He opened up the show saying that he met me before. So at the same time, like, the only good thing he's ever done in his life was fuck Roseanne Barr. And like, she was the only good thing in his life because, dude, she helped elevate him somehow. But for someone who's never met me, guys, to do this, yeah, I think he deserves to get bullied on Twitter. Am I allowed to say that? I think they deserve to, to explain themselves. You see, that should be a podcast right there. You and me, Vic. Yeah. And we get people in the middle of these things and talk it out on a round table. And because there's controversy in everyone's life. And no, I've never met him. And the girl is some mayonnaise, ham and cheese, white bread, boring girl from Canada. You've never even met me, bitch. And it's one of those, like, yeah, and for her to say that, it's like, dude, whatever. Maybe she's racist. It's possible she's racist, well, I don't know. I'm just gonna say it because that could be it. But the best part was him. I'm gonna get Trump. Like, I love that. I'm sorry. It's the best. I'm sorry. I love it. But he's crazy already. So maybe he's delusional or didn't take his meds when he claimed that he met me back in the 90s. Oh, yeah, that's what I say. I was like, for the whole hour and a half of his podcast, I was the subject.
Oh, wow, that's wow, you're in Tom Arnold's head. Okay. That's interesting.
Which head?
We just don't know. I did hear something on Stern, like Mamet did an embedded with him, and it sounded kind of funny. To be honest with you, he's a character for sure, but beyond that, I don't know. I wish he would say Vic Lagina a bunch of times. That would be hilarious to me.
Maybe his co-host. Maybe we should like invite them on or invite her on and like, well, I'd be there ready to like rip her the fuck apart. You'd be like the nice person, like holding me back, like Jazz, just calm down. I'm gonna click the mute.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I love being the voice of reason and and being the grounding force, because I think that's necessary if you're going to have productive talks where you're trying to reach somewhat of an understanding. I think that's part of the problem with the entire world, really. Mm-hmm. Everyone's screaming, right? We're not talking, we're not listening. You gotta mediate, and you gotta listen, and you gotta compromise. Like that's the nature of it. So yeah, I don't scream and yell at all. I listen, and then I decide if it's worth opening my mouth and if it's going to do any good. Because if it's not, then save your energy. That's just the way I see it. I'm like, this will get nowhere except for burn calories, which I guess is something, but it's a waste of time. To me, a lot of this is a waste of time. It's a lot of it blustering. Everyone's screaming into their mic.
It's funny, and like, yeah, you're right. Like it is, but of course I have to scream into my mic at some point because I have to bring that up because we're on the topic of people that do stupid shit, right? And like we're not, it's like it doesn't bother me, but it's just like, how sick in the head are you? Liver spots and all, and hair toupee to do that shit, right? Like, I think the liver spots is what gets me. When someone has those liver spots or whatever it is, it's just, you look like you're jacking off in like under a car.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, he's been divorced a bunch of times. I know he's got a bunch of kids.
Really?
He's got to pay his overhead, and so I guess he's, this generates revenue of some kind to support his big mishpucha, as we call it, family.
Mishpucha? Family.
Yeah,
he's a Meshugana Goya who has to support his Meshuka, his Meshugana Shuka, his Meshugana Meshuka. Mishpucha. But he could Lech Lazazel. Lech Lazazel, is that what it means? Go to hell in Hebrew. Lech Lazazel. I don't know.
Right. I haven't spoken Hebrew in literally decades, so it's somewhere in my brain. It just needs to be retapped into. But I totally forget. Yeah, I mean, listen, there was other people doing stupid shit in porn. Are you familiar with Kieran Lee?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that response?
Yeah.
That was a good reaction. Well, here's the truth. I got Kieran Lee into Brazzers back in early 2008. Me and him are fine now. I saw him not this past AVN, previous AVN. He was one of the first people I saw getting coffee with someone from the porn monopoly, and I commented on his dad bod. He's got an ample belly at this point in time, and he called me a horrible cunt. That's what he said. But we're at the point now where we just kind of are cordial. But yeah, he was a massive pain in the ass. Once I got this motherfucker in the door. So let me take you back. When there was a big dick contract war going on in the 2008 time period where we were battling against Reality Kings and Bang Bros. with the sites that have like the Like It Big. And in a preemptive move, they started contracting some dudes. So I started hearing about this British kid with a big pipe who none of them knew about him. And this motherfucker, and this will age and date the whole thing. This motherfucker started hitting me up on MySpace when I was trying to watch my Philadelphia Eagles lose yet another playoff berth in like the late 2000s, right? And I placated him and I told him, I said, all right, I will get you a shoot when you come to America. And we literally shot it in the house next door to mine, like in the garage that's literally 50 feet away from where I'm sitting. We decorated it as a doctor's office. We shot this scene with a MILF performer named Misty Vonage. Misty Vonage was her name. Now we're shooting this in January, and it's cold in Vegas, and I'm making him have sex with her while he's like on crutches. Now talk about making your tryout for Brazzers, okay? So this guy totally nailed it. But when he dropped his pants, I was like, okay, I told the head office we need to sign him because Bang Bros Reality Kings knew nothing about him. And we can now just take the upper hand on all of that. And I wish I never did, because he was a monumental pain in the ass for the next 3 to 4 years, where he was contracted to shoot 19 shoots a month. Okay. He had access to all of our calendars. And what he would do was he would try to put him in and crowbar himself into a scene that was already with someone else. And when we said no, that, you know, you take, it's a house of cards with this schedule. You pull one card, the whole thing can come tumbling down. You know, it's mixing and matching. Well, when we told him no, he would go above us to the head office until he wore them down to the point where we're like, yeah, replace so-and-so with Kieran. And when the head office does that, you're like, motherfucker. And this went on for a while. And his reasoning for it was, every hole is a goal, mate. That was what he would say. Yeah, that was his rationale for every hole is a goal. You know,
every hole is a goal, mate. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So this would go on, but then on top of it all, he would then, you know, be bugging the head office to become a producer and get his own workload. So essentially, the work that I was giving him, he eventually took more work away from me. He set up his own thing in LA. And it's just one of those deals where you're like, you let someone in, and then it just winds up costing you work and money and gives you all sorts of agita and everything else. The other thing that he would do too is sometimes fuck with me intentionally. Like I shot some of the earliest scenes with Cherie DeVille for Brazzers.
Yeah, I know.
And one day I get a call from the agent taking pictures. She's got hickeys all over her neck because she just did a scene with Kieran, and he was sucking on her neck and therefore rendering her useless for my shoot the next day. Like there was times where I literally wanted to drive out to LA just to beat his ass for being such a cunt. Like that's really what was going on. So I think like there was a time where I was like, I am not going to talk to this dude. There was times where if I saw him, I might have punched him. But you know what? I think what happened over time with him was, number one, he realized being a producer on this level, you know, there's only so much you can really bite off and chew at the same time. You know, there's that. But he also became a father. And from what I've been told, you know, becoming a father is a very humbling experience. And now I think he's got 3 kids. Shit, he might have more. So eventually he calmed the fuck down. You know what I mean? And so we were able to like bury the hatchet. But yeah, he was a cunt. He was a cunt for a while, and I do call him out in the book about it. But I also say, you know, you squash beefs over time. You realize, all right, you know, maybe I was kind of a prick too. This was when I was in my cocaine, you know, haze, and I was sometimes flew off the handle a little more quickly when shit wasn't going my way. But okay, fine. But I would debate him. I would love to, but I don't know if there's much upside into that, and I don't really know if there's much of a beef there anymore. You know.
You never know. People also chill out after a while. And by the way, everyone listening, please make sure to check out Welsh Republic Podcast. And as well, oh yeah, really quick, if you guys are liking the content on here, which I think a lot of you do, make sure to subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to Crazy Train on YouTube and on Apple and Spotify. And don't forget, if you're looking to spice things up in your bedroom, make sure to go to adamandeve.com and put in the code crazy train with a K, to get 50% off most items. And also you get a bunch of free gifts. I don't know who to use them on, but whatever. Also, was there ever a time that you just like had someone no show and they just walked out on a set? Possibly, did that ever happen to you?
Yeah. Well, walk out on a set, more like they were sent home because they were drunk. Or I mean, you had quite a bit of those, and once you realized that was happening, you let it unfold as it's supposed to, because you're not supposed to be shooting drunk people anyways, because it looks terrible. It's very obvious. It's like you're fucking a drunk chick. Now, mind you, the nefarious people out there want to see that shit. They want to see a hammered girl get fucked. Yeah. This was the shit that was driving traffic like a motherfucker on Pornhub for a while, which is why they kept a lot of the revenge porn and a lot of things up on there for so long before, they were forced to check themselves in late 2020 and into 2021. But that would happen. That would happen where they were not of sound mind to be performing consensual sex acts on camera. They weren't. So that's usually what would happen when walking off. There was one girl, she started having an allergy attack when she first walked in the door and then walked off set. That was Sarah Vandella. I after a certain point, I just was like, can't do it. It's just not worth it, But otherwise, that would be when it would happen. But usually when someone came to Vegas, even if there was like something that was a big problem, we were already there. Okay. So let's talk it out let's figure out what works. Like, you don't want to do this. Okay. That's fine. You don't want to dress in that outfit that the head office would want to put you in, like something that was unflattering or not sexy. Okay. We will make compromises on that. That's a small thing. Like, at the end of the day, I want you to feel sexy. I want you to feel hot. I want you to be able to put on a good sex scene. So you make these compromises, but sometimes the concepts were downright ridiculous. Like, I remember, so we built this track in the back of the warehouse. This was the first studio. It was like a figure 8. I remember Mick Blue was like a referee, and it was Chanel Preston, who was a great performer, and Courtney Kane, beautiful girl. I mean, just smoking, great body, everything. And the whole point of this was I think it was for Big Tits and Sports, and they were supposed to ride these blow up, like, bouncy things that had dildos on them. So they were supposed to bounce around this racetrack in a figure 8 and race each other. Okay. And both of them are looking at these things like they were looking at me like I was fucking with them. Like, you're not really asking me to ride this bouncy dildo ball, are you? And I'm like, actually, I'm not asking. The head office who's funding this endeavor, they're the ones doing it. And I mean, to their credit, they did the bouncy ball thing. Like, the compromise was, and I understand it, even though I don't have a vagina, that having something inserted in you while you're bouncing up and down on a rubber ball probably doesn't feel very good. So I was like, okay, we'll do like fake close-ups of it. Like I always said, there's no problems, there's only solutions. So the shots they wanted, which was it going like bouncing, I was like, I'll get that on a close-up. The rest of the stuff, we're going to cheat. We're not going to do it. Let's save your vagina for the scene itself. And that was really it. But once they were there, it was like, okay, no one's going to make money, so let's find the compromise in a lot of it. You know what I mean? But that was like on the extreme side. A lot of times, people knew well in advance what they were doing because they learned to ask questions. Like, what am I doing? Like, what's going on? What am I wearing? I want to look sexy. I want to look hot. Cool. I want you here, and I want you to walk away happy. So let's figure all this shit out. Like, to me, it wasn't really a hard thing to do. And you just had to kind of go back to the head office and be like, look, guys, they're not going for that, but here's the answer where you get what you want. And that's what I always did. I was able to find that little solution within everything just to keep the heads happy, keep talent happy, keep everyone happy. So we all got paid. That was really it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a big job, though. Now, was Courtney Kane Jewish?
no, she was actually a Christian.
She's Christian. There you go, West Coast millennial. Yeah, he was asking. I don't know too many Jews in the business, like just you. And of course, the money guys at some companies, but it was mostly Italians and stuff we dealt with. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, I think nowadays, like back in the 90s, like some of us would, I don't know, it was probably the same ratio now. A lot of us didn't show up fucked up or drunk or anything like that. Like I wasn't one of them. But I just feel like now you hear more about girls showing up there not sober to set, which has got to be a bummer. But I guess it sells, right, on Pornhub.
Yeah, well, not anymore because now you have to be verified. I mean, the things that did happen once I left that company and their house literally started to burn, you know, the owner's mansion burnt down and, you know, the credit card transactions were being pulled and all that stuff. The good thing that came out of it was the verified content that needed to be purged. And, you know, their whole time they were saying they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything. Yeah, you could just verify everyone. Just make sure that what content is up there is with two people who sign consent forms and have IDs. It's not fucking hard. And it's actually, here's a word, ethical. Yeah, you're actually putting ethics into porn. So, yeah, I mean, there was all of that. And I'm, you know, as much as seeing the house burn after I left was somewhat gratifying on the fact I got out. But it was like, yeah, you know, sometimes you do need to burn shit down and rebuild in order to make it better. Are we there yet? I don't know. But I hear things and I just think there's more apathy than ever in the porn industry of people just, you know, looking out for themselves and not really going the extra mile to try to actually make it like a business where you can, you know, feel good at the end of the day, or at least not feel like shit or want to medicate yourself with booze and alcohol like I did. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are people in wrestling that booze and medicate themselves, and some people that have to deal with. But yeah, and you know, everyone's wondering about. Okay, so Vic actually has a really cool book called "Filthy: The Rise and Pending Fall of Vic Lagina." You've got to get it because he has so many stories in there. Vic, oh, why do I always do that? I'm trying to be
you know what? You are not alone. People do it all the time. I just laugh, but yeah, like a lot of people say Lagina or Lagina because maybe they have a problem saying Lagina because it sounds like vagina. You know?
Well, you do that to your name on purpose, Lagina and Vic. We get it. Trust me. Like this is why people would think you're a performer instead of a director, but we all know better than that so far.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
Is that your dog?
Yeah, there's Junior.
Hi.
Junior just hanging back.
Junior, you're very cute. Hi.
Yeah, he's a cute boy. He's my boy.
He's like looking over here.
And the other Jordan, she's somewhere around there, back there somewhere. So, but yeah, my book is out. Look, the good news is that it's doing its own thing now. Like people are reading it, people are enjoying it. They're then telling people about this book, about the porn industry, that it's not what you think it is. It's actually something more. And the guy who wrote it, even though he's a pornographer, actually had some intelligent things to say and made a really good presentation of it all. And I have people reading it. And you know what a lot of people do? They read it and they also do the audiobook at the same time. Or they'll like switch back and forth because that's how you get the best of both worlds. You get this whole crazy audiobook that I put together over the course of months that I did all by myself. And I made it a psychedelic, immersive experience to put you in my shoes for however long I was in porn for close to 20 years. And what it was like. And what is it like to have sex with porn stars? Because newsflash, it's not always what you think it is. Sometimes it goes terribly wrong and sideways and it's awkward. And there's bad smells and all sorts of bad things happen. Okay. So these are the stories. I didn't want to write a sexy porn book. I wanted to write a gritty, somewhat dark, humorous, sad, funny, real book. That basically exposes everything about my soul and my existence within it. And I'm very honest, brutally honest with mostly myself in the whole book and my journey and the fact I got out alive. I'm very happy for it. So
You still have more of a journey. I don't think it's over. I see you somehow getting back involved. I don't know how. Just I don't not directing, but just something else. I don't know what it is. I'm not psychic, by the way.
mhm.
You know, even if it's a mental health thing, I don't know. It's just you and this the personality and the mental health. You're too caring to be around these people. That's all.
Well, I mean, listen, I'll anything would have to require a paycheck at this point. Like I can't just do this for free anymore. Like consulting, you know what? I would like to be a consultant, porn consultant, Vic Lagina porn consultant.
No, call it Booby,
Whatever works.
Booby
But
Inc.
yeah, that could be interesting. I mean, I do it anyway for free. People hit me up all the time. They ask me advice. I had a girl today hit me up advice about, like, she's got this agent who he sucked when I was in it, and he sucks even more now. And she's asking me, she's like, is it normal for me to get my info the night before? I'm like, no. I was like, these are the things you need to talk to them about. This is why you should talk to the producers directly, because then, like, she says, is it normal for, you know, the makeup artist to do my makeup and then the director to come in and say, hey, can you clean up what she did? And I'm like, no, that's not normal. Like, if you can do your makeup better and save the company, I do it, but communicate this stuff.
No.
People are asking me this shit because this is how I dealt with everything. I would get my information out like the Friday before the week's worth of shoots. So read over it. If there's a problem, let me know ahead of time. You know, this was very easy shit to deal with, but not in the porn industry and not with agents because they mostly sucked a lot.
That's weird. Like I always requested the same makeup artist. Actually, Rob Black signed him to contract when he put me under contract. He had this guy, Sean, this gay guy from Texas doing my makeup that I loved. But yeah, he was one of my best friends, this guy, Sean. And he's like, sir, what's your name? He's like, Sean Town. Okay, well, I will put your name in the contract too, sir. So you're part of it. Only once some girl didn't know what the fuck she was doing. I'm like, really? So she was crying. I don't know why she was crying. It's like, why are you even here? Like, how did you get a job doing anyone's makeup? Turns out her boyfriend was working for AVN. I'm like, well, still, it doesn't qualify you to do makeup. So nonetheless, there was no shoot that day because I wasn't happy with what she did. And I'm not going to sit there and do my fucking makeup. Yeah. I don't think we would have worked very well back then. But I don't think I would have been in that predicament either. You're like, Jasmin, that's just horrible.
The moral of the story is the porn industry attracts a lot of fucktards. Fucktards galore. Okay. That's really the truth. And it would frustrate me to no end because I am not a fucktard. I'm very organized and know exactly what needs to be done in order to get this shit done. But I'm so glad I don't have to do it anymore because it was exhausting. It really was. It was exhausting for a while. Look, I was well compensated. I was, but even after a certain point, money is not the answer when you're cracking. Like there's fissures everywhere in your psyche, in your well-being, everywhere where you're like, yeah, money's great and it does make the world go around, but I was almost there. I literally was very close to it. So what are you gonna do?
Well, you seem very well put together. Do you have any signings coming up? Because people are going to want to know. They want to meet you, I'm sure, and get the book signed. Do we have that? What do we have coming up?
Not really a lot going on. I'm still kind of going day by day. You know, this morning my eyes opened up, so I said, okay, I get to do this again and have another day. So my days consist of whatever the fuck I want. So I'm, sometimes I feel a little more motivated to get the word out. But going back to the book, yeah, I mean, I'll keep doing podcasts. I'll have you come on whenever you invite me.
Yeah, we've got to do more of these. I think we should do a dating advice one, or how to date a porn star should be one of the titles. Let's do that. Yeah, guys, I want to bring him back on at least once a month. So, I mean, just throw us some ideas because I think it would be really fun because we could talk about these topics. They know I could get it from my end and from your end. Like guys are going to want to know. So we're not going to talk about that now. So guys, you just have to tune back in the next time. Hi, Enzo. My cat's here giving me this dirty look like he's ready to rip my eyeballs out. I'm really scared of him. Hi.
Yeah. But yeah, go to viclagina.com if you want an autograph copy or an signed copy.
God. Sorry,
you can, it's cool. It's cool. You can order one off of my Gumroad. The link is on my website, viclagina.com. You can see the trailer, the booby-filled trailer for the book, and you can figure out how you want to read or immerse yourself in the world of Filthy. So, but yeah, I think there's ways I can kind of expand on Filthy, or maybe do another book coming.
I think we should do another book.
Well, the ideas are starting to swirl. That's where it starts. So yeah, I did enjoy the writing process, and now that I've gone through it once before, the second one won't take as long. I have a different view and a different idea on how to kind of expand this universe and talk on topics that weren't really addressed maybe in the first one. So we'll see. We'll see if I get there, if I flesh it out a little bit more. But in the meantime, keep supporting Filthy, please, because this is how it's done. It's been fun so far. I didn't really do this to get for the money. This was all more for getting on base and seeing where the fuck this thing goes. And so far it's going. So
this cat's gonna like kill me. I saw Pet Cemetery the other night for the first time. I'm really scared of my cat right now. He's okay. Yeah. All right. I get it. You're like fed 3 times already before this. So I don't know what he's doing. I think he's going to I'm scared he's going to jump on me and like try to murder me or like suck the breath out of me or something.
This is a pet you own, huh?
I love you. It's okay, baby. You get anything you want. So we're going to bounce up, but thanks for coming back on and explaining who have these wackadoodles are, but let's have you on again next month to discuss these things, because your stories are great. And I know that one of the stories that will come out of dating a porn star will obviously be with your ex. And yeah, we'll keep her name out of this. I know, Enzo. I get it. All right. I get it. Yeah. I can't say no to a black cat with green eyes. I just can't do it because it's just, I feel so wrong. And he's going to fuck my life up. But make sure to get out and get the book, Filthy, The Rise and Pending Fall of Vic Lagina. And if no one hears from me within this week, I've been murdered by my cat. No, I'm joking. He's harmless. But thanks for coming back on. Everyone, get the book. Yeah, Enzo's hungry. So I will speak to you soon. Thank you once again, Bubs. And let's do this again next month. We got to make this into a monthly, thank God, to a monthly event.
All right. I'm down. You just tell me when. And I'll be there.
All right. Speak to you soon. All right.
Bye.
Okay, guys. So yeah, my cat, just the look was really scared, but I don't think he would never really hurt me. It just sounds better when I do that. It sounds more dramatic, but yes, I will see you guys next Monday. It's me and Veronica Kane. So whip out those wrestling questions and nurse questions, because we'll be at WrestleCon promoting her new company and of course promoting myself. So everyone have a stellar week. And most importantly, stay frosty.